Yeah.
You're recording? Of course, you can trim off this beginning part where I'm going to walk past the counter, but everything else,
All right.
have a great time.
Thanks.
See
Thank
you
you.
guys.
Hey guys, welcome. This is the Playbook, the ultimate guide to the men's health. I'm Manny Cambra with Fran Grenier and Michelle Cruiser, the sleep specialist today, and a very welcome guest. Today, we're going to break down the science, the habits, and the mindset it takes to perform at your best inside and out. Today's episode, we're recording at the Frosted Nug as usual. Thank you very much for them. We are sponsored by Game Day Men's Health over in Swedesboro. Fran over here is the
Manager, franchise administrator. So
Yep. Now, Game Day, as you know, we are local experts in optimizing testosterone, vitality, and recovery for men who want to feel their strongest and their best selves again. So now, today, I'm excited because this is something that I have looked into and done a deep dive for my entire fitness career, and it is something that I have severely underestimated for the beginning part of it. It's sleep and just how important it is for physical fitness, physical health, mental health, everything. So, Michelle, I'd like to turn it over to you right now if you want to introduce yourself and give everybody a little tidbit about what you're about.
Sure, absolutely. So I'm Michelle Cruiser. I am a board certified behavior analyst and I'm a certified behavioral sleep practitioner. So I want to focus on the word behavioral. I'm not a medical doctor, and there are things that I can screen when I work with somebody, such as sleep apnea, but that is not something that I help people with. I work with individuals that are really struggling with sleep, specifically insomnia.
Okay. And then I would say that there's a lot into that, a lot of different variables that you can address.
Yes, so the science behind it is called cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia. There's three main focuses on what impacts your sleep. So the first thing is your sleep drive. So I'm looking at how early in the morning are people waking up and how consistently are they. That routine is so important, not just building your sleep drive, but then your circadian rhythm, which is the routine. I look at that. And then finally, the most important part usually is quieting your mind. So those people that wake up in the middle of the night and their mind and their thoughts start racing or their to-do list starts, and then, okay, how can we quiet the mind so then we can relax enough to go back to sleep?
Or they can't shut it off to begin with.
Yes.
And that's just I was prescribed ADHD medication since third grade, and I've recently had come off of it, and it's helped my sleep drastically. But it was one of the things where I actually needed, or I know it's counterproductive, but having the TV on at night or something like that, that significantly disrupts your or takes away from the quality of sleep while you're sleeping. However, I wasn't able to fall asleep without it because my brain needed some sort of stimuli to calm down, and that's just the different. Everybody differs. So the
Absolutely.
TV helped me. Just I'm sure the flashing lights didn't, but I would close my eyes and the noise and everything would soothe me, whether it be a drama or an action flick. My brain having the stimuli, it centered me. It calmed me down. Dead silence, dark room. I hear a pitch. My mind's imagining things. If I don't have something to focus on, my mind's gonna go wild. So getting someone to calm down. I guess what would be what are some of the techniques that you can, men or women, this probably will help both sexes. But what are some of the techniques and what are the things that people can do to kind of shut off, right?
So, well, some of the things are obvious or things that we know, guided imagery, meditation, breathing techniques. But there's one technique that I'll share that you may not be so familiar with. So, especially if you find yourself laying in the bed and you're just like, oh my goodness, I have so many different things that I need to do today or tomorrow, excuse me. So, or you find yourself waking up in the middle
Depends
of the night.
if it's midnight or past. Right?
Exactly. So if you find that you're in that habit of doing that, there's something called a buffer zone. So just like we would have our children have a bedtime routine, it's almost the similar thing for adults, like giving ourselves that time to just be and not like go until the moment we're ready for bed. because we're really not giving our brain that break that it needs in order to relax.
To wind down. Yeah.
Exactly. And then one thing that is very beneficial is I call it like a mind unwind, is write out everything. So if your brain is like, oh my goodness, why did I say this? Or oh, I have to do this, or I forgot, and or I have this important presentation. If there's anything on your mind, get it out of here and get it onto paper. So, and there's different ways you can do this. There's one that's just a brain dump, like every single thing that comes to mind. If you find that you're like almost like that pinball machine where it's just like, boom, boom, I got this, just get everything out on paper, right? But if you're giving yourself a to-do list, then I would say take it a step further, write down everything you need, and then just jot down something of how you're going to take care of that. If you're on your mind, you're like, oh, my dad has that procedure. Oh, I'm going to call my dad at noon. Oh, I have to remember to do this. Oh, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to ask Manny to take care of that for
Got
me.
it.
So you can take it a step further and give yourself a plan. But when you get it out of your brain, get it onto paper, and then you actually like push it aside. And I know some people that have even recommended like taking it the extra step and like closing it and putting it away. And it almost like signals to your brain like, okay, we're done with this until tomorrow, and then we can revisit it.
No,
So that's one of the recently. I wish I could remember the self-help guru that kind of had this summarized, where he's talking about productivity, and he says, you set yourself up for success by planning the night before. So when you think about what's on your mind, racing in your head as a business owner, lots going on every day. Think about it, write it down, and say, I can take care of this tomorrow, and I can let it go. I'm not going to do it tonight. So I've just been using this tool the last couple months, and I do have some restless sleep, and I know it's because I don't do enough prep before I go to bed. But this one piece is more about productivity the next day. Okay, what am I going to get done tomorrow that's going to be, reaching my goals and, getting the important things done. And I can plan it now, and anything else that's still racing around, like you said, write it down and know that I'm going to have it written down in my little to-do list of keep it fresh in my mind. So when I wake up, I don't have to worry that I'm going to forget it in the morning. That's, for me, that's part of it, is am I going to remember that one little thing in the morning, and it's keeping me up, or I'm not finding peace before I go to bed. So I write it down and say, we will take care of that tomorrow. And that alone, with a little gratitude or, calming, goes a long way for me. So
I'm sure it would go very well for most people. However, I feel like a lot of men out there, they don't see the value in it, or they see that pushing through on 4 hours of sleep is some sort of an accomplishment. Like it's a term like endearing.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
oh,
like
I'm
exhaustion as a badge of honor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess, what could you tell all the men out there right now? How important and detrimental, or how important is a good night's sleep, and how detrimental is not getting that good night's sleep?
Well, that's what was so profound to me, because I did not sleep well in my 40s. And when you're not sleeping well or you're pushing through, you're just like, that's exactly what you're doing, right? Just pushing through. I'm just going to muscle through. I'm going to do this, right? And it wasn't until years later that I realized it's not a day-to-day impact. It is literally your future health.
Yep.
And I recommend to everybody, if you have any interest in sleep, read Dr. Matthew Walker's book, Why We Sleep. It's fantastic. He is on a lot of podcasts. He is an amazing, he's so knowledgeable, and he's interesting in the way he explains things. And he said one thing that jolted me. So this is the fact, okay, that I will share. He said, if you have any doubt as to the importance of routine quality sleep, look at shift workers, because shift workers are at a higher risk of cancer, heart disease, and Alzheimer's. And when I heard that, I just about felt like I got punched in my gut, because I thought I didn't realize at that time that it really takes a toll on your health. You know, that's your future you.
No, yeah. And it's quality of life. And people think that just because they're living or getting by, that's life. And they don't really know because they haven't given it a chance, or they haven't done the things that they need to do before bed, put in the work, put in the actual, we're working all day, but they're not actually putting in the work that, you know, will take care of themselves. And I think men are, I don't want to speak, but I think men are the more, you know, stubborn in that fact that, oh, I don't need it more. And I think maybe women might be in the area of like, oh, I can't shut my mind off, I can't stop thinking and stuff like that. It's not, so we both suffered from from lack of sleep, I think. But for men, it's more of it just them ignoring the fact that they because they don't think they need it. And a lot of the men that we have, obviously, with coming to us as clients, the main thing is lowered testosterone and the way sleep affects our hormones. I don't think many men have really any knowledge of that or any idea of just how detrimental sleep is on their testosterone. Now, it's not necessarily just the testosterone, but it's the other hormones in the body, like cortisol and raised cortisol levels, and how the stress hormone, cortisol, known as the stress hormone, has almost no good benefits. It has a few good, but most of the side effects of cortisol are negative, and sleep helps regulate that. And I guess what would you tell people to control that cortisol, or to just manage their cortisol levels?
Right. Well, it's tricky because if you are stressed out during the day, right, and those cortisol levels are getting higher, it's harder to sleep. But yet, if you're not sleeping, then your cortisol levels are going higher. So it's like this vicious cycle. So then it's like, okay, well, what can we do in order to sleep well to help all of our hormone production?
I mean, this is where like behavioral sleep specialists, this is where like breaking down, like what are things that guys can do either during the day, the morning, add to their routine, make sure that they're doing on a consistent basis in order to at least help the cortisol levels be managed.
Absolutely. And I think, and I love that we're talking about this right now, because when we think of sleep as that time our head hits the pillow, right? But I don't think of sleep that way. I think of sleep the opposite. I think of sleep as the moment your head is coming off the pillow, the moment you're waking up.
Yes.
And I'll tell you why, because it's everything that you do during the day that is either going to help you get that wonderful quality sleep, or it's going to hurt your sleep. Okay, so things like, say, let's say, Fran didn't fall asleep or didn't sleep well last night, right? Well, maybe, especially if it's happening over and over again, well, he may decide that he's not waking up when his alarm goes off. So he's hitting that snooze alarm, right? Which is creating that, like, you're kind of waking up and then you're falling back to sleep and waking up and then you're really feeling like a zombie.
And people think people take pride in it, or they laugh at it. Oh,
Yeah.
I have 7 alarms. I have 13 alarms,
Yeah.
4 minutes apart from each other. That's terrible.
Yeah, don't do that.
No,
No,
don't be
just-
proud of it.
just
Don't be
get
proud
up.
of it. Don't.
So, and then maybe, somebody might be going to work late, or maybe they're calling out of work, or they're taking a nap, they're canceling like appointments that, hey, I have, I'm going to meet with Manny for lunch, and then they're canceling their plans, not going to the gym. So everything that helps with our stress levels, then we have canceled that because we're not sleeping well. So this is when I say, take a look at your day, and if you're really not sleeping well, if it's, a few nights, and it happens, like we all have that random, things are either on our brain, or we're not feeling well, or we're up for whatever reason, that's normal, like every now and then. But when you're seeing that over and over again, that's when it's the problem. And then you really want to, and this is when I say kind of fight through, don't take the nap.
Let yourself power through that.
Yeah.
And then and be exhausted before you go to bed. If you
right, building that sleep drive So those are some things that you want to make sure that you're doing those things and giving your brain a break. Like, how many of us are constantly inundated with information, right? At this, everything is always like right at our fingertips, and so much. How many times do we eat lunch and we're working? We have our computers out, or we're like taking a walk and we're listening to a podcast, which will be ironic if this is happening right now. But there are times in our day where we should just be. And so I would say, look at your day. Is there moments where you're just taking a walk in nature and just to enjoy the surroundings? Like, that helps decrease that level of stress hormone that is eventually going to help you get that good night's sleep. It's very cyclical.
So what is the number, right? What do you think is, we will grow up hearing, oh, you need 8 hours of sleep, 8 hours of sleep, 8 hours of sleep.
Okay.
And I don't know many very successful people who actually get 8 hours. And when I say very successful, I mean high performing, incredibly demanding job, but you're making a ton of money, very successful, spotlight, status. So typically those people, they have a kind of a badge of being they don't sleep much. It's almost like it's correlated, right? Because they're always working, they're always being productive, they're always being to be successful. What is, I would say, if you have to tell people, what is like the cutoff for the minimum? Like, if you're getting less than this, you are in fact undoubtedly damaging yourself over time.
I would definitely say under 6, you're definitely absolutely.
Yeah.
But there is a range. Everybody's a little bit different.
Yep.
So the range is 7 to 9.
Yep.
Hours
But
of
6
sleep,
is like, yeah.
But I would really, and have I met people that are like, I have 6 hours of sleep and I'm good, I'm fine. Is it possible?
They could be better. They don't know. That's what, I'm good.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, but you could be better.
Right.
You're not your best at 6. Right. And I would not believe a single person. It's like, I work my best. Try 8 consistently and see if you're really better at 6. Right. I doubt that. I highly doubt that. So
the one thing I do, when I ask people if they're like, oh, I'm fine, I can get by on 6. So I say, how do you really feel during the day? And they say, oh, I'm great. And sometimes I wonder, is it just their normal? Like, they've been doing that for so long that they do feel like they're fine. But I always ask, what about when you're on vacation? What about when you don't have that appointment you have to get up for, and don't have the, snooze, the alarm set? How many hours do you get then? And then they think, and I'm like, okay, that's very
what your
telling.
body
So
really
look at
wants.
what your body is asking for.
Yep.
Or if they say, well, I get 6 Monday through Friday and I'm fine. And I go, okay, what about on the weekend? And they're like, oh, well, then I'm sleeping until 10. Your body is trying to make up for that, and it really can't. Not
like,
long term.
No, not at all. Yeah.
So with game day, you're familiar with our process. We've talked about it a few times, and it's, you come in, you sit with the clinician after you get a blood draw, and you're talking about, a little bit of your medical history, but it really does focus on just a couple key things. And it's, are you eating healthy enough? Could you eat healthier? Could you sleep a little better? And could you get a little more exercise? So one of our core services is weight loss, and we really, at Game Day Swedesboro, we really don't push it much. Because myself and our doctor and our clinician all are in the same boat, in that we really strongly believe that if you do those core 3 things, you will see success, you'll see improvement, and go from there. And part of that chat about sleep is 7 to 8. So when we hear a lot of guys coming in and talking about, they're doing well on 6, or sometimes they're only getting 5, and they make up the next day. You never really make it up. We all know that. But the value of getting 7 to 8 is very stressed in all the game days, because it is a core driver of your hormone cycle. So, we'll be talking more about that here as we go through some more questions for you.
Yes, I definitely wanted to get into that about where, not necessarily where, but does does testosterone peak at certain times during sleep or during the day? Do you get more testosterone? Will your body produce more testosterone as you sleep deeper, or if you are getting terrible sleep, will you produce less?
You will. So it's funny, you know how I said that 6 hour mark? And I heard this from Dr. Matthew Walker, so I feel like this is a very trusted source. And he said that men that get regularly under 6 hours of sleep a night, their testosterone levels are incredibly lower than men getting closer to that 7 and 8 hours.
Yeah, really? Okay.
Yeah, that was the cutoff that he gave with.
Did you have to say, was there anything about having optimal levels or the correct levels that would maybe help sleep to begin with? Like if you're low testosterone, are you susceptible to bad sleep? If you have the correct levels, are you more prone to get a better night's sleep?
Oh, that's such a good question. I don't know because I've never really thought of it like if your testosterone levels are better, are you getting a better sleep? But I know, so that's, I don't know. Let's like ask Fran because I feel like that's
like
interesting.
with
with
most men that are stressed out, I have found and seen that men with optimal testosterone are less stressed because they're able to handle life. Life is easier when your testosterone levels are correct. Life is more difficult. You have like when you have lower test, you have lower drive, lower energy. Everything seems harder. You just don't. You're just more sore. There are just a lot of ongoing problems that create that stress, that create the rising cortisol. So that's why I kind of like in my mind, I'm thinking there's probably a correlation, obviously, in if you have your test levels optimized or you have them at the right level, it's almost correlated that your stress levels will in turn lower anyways. So that's how I love how hormones like the balance or the seesaw with estrogen and testosterone. We all know if your testosterone is lower, your estrogen goes up. If your test goes up, your estrogen could go down. They balance each other out. So I'm sure cortisol it may have the same effect as well.
It makes sense. There are so many things that have that bi-directional relationship. Like as you were talking, I thought too of sleep and exercise. You know, when we're sleeping better, we feel more energy and we want to exercise. And when we're having that exercise, then that helps our stress levels and then that helps us sleep. And it's like
it
this
wears our body out.
wonderful-
And so like people that can't go to sleep, people have difficulty going to sleep. Ask yourself, did you work out today? Did you expend energy? Because if you have all this energy right before bed, there you go. Like that's an easy answer. But as Fran had said or mentioned that the specifics on like what was it, Fran? What did you say? Getting into more specific of what was it?
Star cycles. So I mean, as far as from my learning since having the game day open for almost a year now. Testosterone for men, it peaks in the late morning, early afternoon in our natural cycle. And when guys are on testosterone replacement therapy, we try to get them to mimic that. So when they give themselves their injection, we try to do it in the morning. If they're taking the oral version, we try to get them to take it with breakfast and lunch. So those just to help your body maintain the cycle. So there's lots of different hormones in the male body that work with each other. I like to call it a dance, melatonin goes up at night, cortisol kicks in a little in the morning, adrenaline when you get the fight or flight, you get nervous, and testosterone's there kind of as a balancer. But like you said, a lot of things can affect it. A lot of things can cause it to go down over time. And I think that's the biggest thing that we're talking about. Shift work. I was on shift work for 20 years. And it was just brutal doing rotating shifts, night shifts, days off in between, rotating around, just horrible for your body. And there's all kinds of tips and tricks you can do to, get better sleep when you're doing that type of rotating shift, but it is it's difficult. There's tons of studies out there. You just Google some of them, and the increase in different medical conditions is just huge. The average lifespan difference is very significant. I kind of remember one study of like British transportation workers that worked 12-hour shifts
I think
that
it's something. It's
rotated.
over a decade. It's
And
like,
it was the one I'm remembering was like 8 years,
yeah,
and it
it's-
was, it's like that's huge, and you would hope that if you're taking care of yourself and eating is better than most, exercising better than most, that you're on the top end of that, and maybe it's not affecting you as much, but it is, because it's your body's natural cycle and you're constantly rotating around that. So, but that's kind of the perspective that I see out there, and I'm just, I'm glad I get 7 hours to 8 hours most nights, but sometimes it's interrupted, and that's something that I've been trying to work through more recently. So I don't know. It's restless sleep, I guess, to a certain extent. I'm sleeping, and then 2 hours later, I'm rolling over, and I'm like, okay, I don't know why I'm rolling over and waking up at this time, but
there's nothing you remember or nothing
Nope.
you noticed.
not like
when
a
it-
dog jumped on me.
I
or-
was just gonna ask
I
that.
know, no dogs jumping on the bed. So it's just kind of weird, because I'll get about 4 hours of sleep, and then I'll roll over, and it's like 1, 2, roll over again. Now it's like an hour later, 2 hours later, and I'm just like, still not 5 o'clock, not getting up yet.
Now, are you awake that whole time, or when you
Oh,
turn
no.
over, like, do
No,
you
I
sleep a little
I,
bit?
I roll over for a minute or two, and then I fall back asleep.
Okay.
And then I roll over again, and I'm like, 2 hours went by.
Right. Okay. Well, no, that's good.
Sounds like me in the morning
That
with my
actually-
alarm.
Yeah. No,
Oh,
that's
2 hours.
actually much better than I was nervous.
You were
for
thinking I was
Fran,
staying up for
because,
hours.
Yes, because
Yeah.
that is the most common problem that I hear.
Okay.
That I have no difficulties falling asleep whatsoever. I'm good. I'm asleep for a few hours. Maybe 3, 4, 5 hours if I'm normally not 5.
Yeah.
But then I wake up, and it's like my brain thinks it's like time to go, and I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, oh no, it's only 2:30 or whatever.
Yep.
And I toss and turn, and before I know it, an hour went by, but they're awake. So it's very.
Are
ask,
these people napping during the day?
So some yes, some no.
Okay, yeah, because I would say that
Yeah.
might, because circadian rhythm, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you're, I would like you to kind of go into that
Mm-hmm.
in depth as much as you can and tell people really how, not only is how important it is, but like what it entails in terms of the cycle and how things happen, what things happen.
Mm-hmm.
Because people that take a nap, from what I understand, the circadian rhythm is your body's just natural process, whether it's the sleep cycle and being awake and their hormones and everything like that, and how it just wants to naturally maintain homeostasis. That right, and if you're napping or if you allow yourself to nap, it kind of would mess up the natural. If you're napping at 2 p.m. and your body all of a sudden thinks, hey, this is when we go to sleep, right? Then not at nighttime, right? But we're gonna at this time, and then you struggle to stay asleep because your body's like, we're not supposed to be asleep right now, and you wake up at 3:30 a.m. wide awake, completely wide awake, and you can't get back to sleep. Like you wish you could wake up like that at 6. But you're groggy at 6. You wake up at 3. I'm sure like these people are saying, like, and I can't get back to sleep. I'm just up. It's like,
Yeah.
so like the circadian rhythm, what is that, and what should people be paying attention to?
Well, you had mentioned 2 very interesting topics that are a little bit different, that I'll separate a little bit.
Cool.
So the circadian rhythm, and then naps. Like naps, are they good? Are they bad? Like, should we take them, and how long should they be? So that could be.
Everyone
like,
in
it's
Europe
one-
takes naps. I'm sure they're fine.
The
so.
siesta. I've
Yeah.
been reading about that. I have been asked that question very recently, like quite a few times, and it's interesting because I don't know. It doesn't seem to be as popular, the siesta, as it was, but
'Cause it's
anyway,
just
let's
modern
all
day,
go
yeah.
visit and then
Yeah,
we'll figure
and-
it out and then we'll come back and we'll adjourn on it. But anyway, so with circadian rhythm, it's your 24-hour-ish clock and it's all different. So, and I hate to admit this, but I used to think, like, I'm a morning person. So if somebody's like, oh, I can't get up, I'm up, I go to bed late, I have trouble getting up in the morning. I was like, well, just do it. Just get up. You can do it. And it's not quite that easy.
No.
I didn't know that. That was a very naive thought. So there are people that are naturally, night owls. There are naturally people that are in the, morning birds, and they're somewhere in between. And sometimes it is difficult because our job or our routine sometimes is going against our natural 24-hour clock. So there's a part of that. So I do look at a person's,
Can you change your natural clock? No, I didn't think you could.
I will
much.
say yes, but it's not easy to do. And it takes time, and it takes, so circadian rhythm, the best way to like wake yourself up is that light, right?
Yep.
Which actually does signal cortisol, but
Well,
kind of
re-
like that
red light or the
alertness,
sun.
So yeah, the sun is the best.
But all right, so
know.
people that are waking up in
But now
in New
it's
England,
dark right now.
exactly.
Yeah,
So
no, they have.
This
they
is the
actually
worst
have
time of year
light-
for me.
I know. I'm like, oh, it's still dark when I'm waking up. I like it
It's
bright.
still dark when I'm driving.
They have light boxes to help people. I
Well,
mean,
red
you
light,
can
like
have
red
the-
light therapy and stuff.
Well, yeah, they have that too. But I mean, they literally sell light boxes to help people that have a difficult time with their circadian rhythm and
Okay.
with their wake cycles. But sorry, I sat back away from. I don't know if I messed anything up there. But so many times people talk about going to bed around the same time every night. It's actually the opposite. Wake up at the same time every single morning. So don't focus on what time you go to bed, because if you wake up the same time every single morning, including the weekends, then nighttime is naturally going to fall into place. Because you can't force yourself to fall asleep, but you can force yourself, believe it or not,
Yes.
you can force yourself to wake up. So I would say really to help your circadian rhythm, the more consistent you are 7 days a week, it's going to help you sleep. And always looking at that wake up time.
Wake up, because then your body will just, like you said, just fall into place. I'm a big Huberman guy, huge. I
Yeah.
love Huberman, and one of the tricks that he said was have a glass of cold water next to your bed. Not to drink during the night or anything like that, but have ice cold water next to your bed so that when you wake up or when you want to wake up, and this is even if you snooze, but if you say you have the biggest day of your life, the biggest meeting of your life on Wednesday, and it's Monday night, you can't miss it on Wednesday morning. You have to wake up at 5 a.m. on Wednesday. What you can do is you can set your alarm for 5 a.m. on Tuesday. So you sleep Monday into Tuesday. You sleep. You don't have to actually wake up, or you don't actually have to get up and go through your day. But if you wake up at 5 a.m. on Tuesday, you have that ice cold water next to your bed, and you drink that ice cold water at 5 a.m., it will help you significantly actually wake up the next day at that exact time. Yes, it's a cool trick that you were saying. That, yep.
Interesting.
Your body will remember it. But it has to be super ice cold. But so like certain tricks like that, but that help people wake up. What are some of the tricks that help people get to sleep? So that's kind of.
Can we go back for a moment on the naps?
Oh yes,
Is
yeah,
that-
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So the nap. So very often I get asked, "Can I take a nap?" I got asked that today, actually, a few hours before I was here. So it depends. There are people that go to sleep and they're fine. They sleep very well. They sleep, 7.5, 8.5 hours, and they're like, "I love a cat nap. I love that 20-minute cat nap." I'm like, "You do it. You go, girl."
I can't.
Like,
I don't think I've ever taken a 20-minute.
oh my gosh, I love 20-minute
I
naps.
can't. If I go,
Really?
if I fall, I wake up thinking it's Thursday and it's. No, yeah, I sleep hard. I can't. If I fall asleep, I don't.
Okay.
I can never
That's
wake
very
up.
funny.
Yeah.
So there's a very interesting research article and it's NASA, that the perfect sleep time for a nap is 26 minutes. And it's because when you go in, so there's the sleep stages. So there's 1 through 3 sleep stage, and then there's the REM. Okay. So it
And
takes
then REM?
90
Okay.
minutes. So that full, the stage 1, 2, 3 REM, that full is 90 minutes. Okay. So it's kind of like either get the cat nap, which apparently you don't like, but
I'm not capable
take
of it. I'd love it. It sounds
Yeah,
amazing.
It's amazing. So it's like 20-ish minutes because it doesn't get you to that deep level sleep. Because if you ever taken a nap, and I'm sure we've all been there, when you take a nap and you wake up and you're like, I feel worse now than I did when I laid down. I never should have taken the nap.
Middle of REM.
It's because those sleep stages, the stages of sleep, you were in that deep sleep. And somebody probably was like, hey, Manny, you got to get up, you know, or you're like, oh, like, what day is it? And then you like are feeling like that zombie. So, so I say, if you're having struggles with insomnia, do not nap unless there's a safety concern. Okay. So if you're like feeling so like very sleepy and you're like, wow, this is like, I'm struggling to like keep my eyes open, take a nap. Don't like, if you're going to be behind the car or something. Which is a whole nother topic, but like the micro sleeps are very scary. But if it's if it's a safety concern, sleep. Or if your sleep is great and you're like, Michelle, I have no problems, I'm like, then kudos.
If
Good
you know
for
your body, yeah,
You do you,
you're
Bill.
clearly not
You
one of
know?
the people that we're
But if
talking to.
if you're struggling with your sleep and you're like, and you're trying to make up for it, don't do it. Because you are, instead of trying to make yourself feel better, you're actually hurting your next night's sleep. And that's how I would say to think about that.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, if I ever take a nap, it's hours, and that will significantly, hurt my schedule, sleep schedule. So I apologize. Didn't mean to move on too fast. But
Oh no, that's okay.
yeah. So going back to the kind of the tricks, like I went over that one that you possibly helps you wake up. Now, but that the reason I brought that up is because you mentioned that it's not really necessarily what time you go to sleep that's important, or not important, but it's more important about the time, or critical about the time you wake up every day. So if you need to wake up every day and you're trying to do that, I know that is a trick. You can wake up, drink that water, and you can hit snooze and go back, and you'll be more likely to wake up at that time easier the next day. So if you consistently do that, if you always have a cold cup of water and you want to wake up easier, have that cold cup of water waiting for you on the side and chug it right when you wake up, 8 to 16 ounces, and it will significantly improve your ability to wake up at that time. Trust me, I've suffered, and I'm not, like I said, not a morning person. But I've needed to be, and I've taken the steps to look up research and stuff like that, and that is one of the things that I found is having that there. But going
That and light too.
Light.
Turn those lights on.
Light's huge.
oh yeah,
Light
but
is
you have to
huge,
get
yeah.
out of bed to do that.
Well, yeah, yeah.
I
that's
just no.
true.
That's why I'm saying that's the best I got. I
Okay.
prep it. I don't get cold water. I have that as I go to bed, and I sip it like on my pillow, and I get up. So I was one of those people. Yeah, I'm one of those people that could not wake up.
Come on, man,
Yeah,
get
hey.
up.
Yeah.
I know, right?
No, right? But hey, so that's like for waking up. But going to sleep, there are a few techniques I think that people, or just a few requirements, settings that before bed, writing your stuff down. But like in terms of a physical point, in terms of like hygiene, right, or habits and stuff like that, what are some of the things that people can do before bed to help them get into fall asleep faster?
Well, I had talked about that buffer zone, giving yourself time between the go and the actual bedtime. So a minimum of an hour where you can, whatever's relaxing to you. Like I find reading very, very relaxing, but then somebody's like, I love reading. I could be up for 4 hours. I get lost in it. Okay. That might not be the best thing. So, but, and then that routine too. If you're talking about sleep hygiene, doing things like dimming the lights, turning down the thermostat, like the recommended sleep, I personally love it, is like that 60 65 to 67 degrees. Some people find that very cold. I find that like perfect. I love this weather right now. That's
Yep.
one thing. I don't like the sun not being up, but I'm loving keeping my windows open, and
There's
like,
always a
I'm
trade-off.
sleeping so well. I love it. Yeah. So those are some things. And really, the more routine that you can be, it's sending signals to your body like, oh, it's time to unwind. You know, whatever that is for you.
A
And
yawn.
Yeah.
Like if you're yawning at like 9:30, right? That's your body literally telling you.
Yeah,
Like,
pay attention to those body cues. Or so many times, like, you know, you have the person, like, their head's falling, so they're sleepy. Oh my gosh, get up. Like, get up and go to bed. Because if you are dozing on the couch, you are, like, taking away from your quality sleep later on. And it may not seem like a lot. It might be like, oh, Michelle, it's like 5 or 10 minutes dozing. You are taking away from that deep sleep that you want, and it's hurting your sleep. And I know so many people that do that.
I mean, so like, I mean, it's common sense, or it's out there. We sleep about 1/3 of our lives. We're asleep 1/3,
Yeah.
third, 1/3. How important is a bed? A bed.
Yeah.
So like when you put it into that 1/3 of your life, right? And people are like, oh, I don't want to buy this, or it's too expensive. It's 1/3 of your life.
Right.
How important is a bed? Like, so I think that's one of the things that right from the bear, like you can do all these techniques, you can have a good diet, this and that. But if you skimped on your bed, and not to say that, you know, you have to go buy the most expensive one, just find one that is good for you and actually good for you, not just your budget. Because that's another thing that people, if you're not sleeping properly, right, you're just your hormones, all this stuff. We're talking, the main focus here is how it affects your hormones and stuff like that. There's just different levels to it. You know, like if you're not getting good sleep, there's so many things that you need to be doing or could be doing to improve it. And
Absolutely. And I think it's so important to buy, like, you should love your bed. You should absolutely, like, I love my bed. I have a king split. My husband does shift work. And when we had a queen, and anytime he'd get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, guess who else was also awake? And even though I could roll over and go back to sleep, it was interrupted constantly.
Yep.
Or if he was adjusting to nights, he would come into bed later, and then who's being woken up? I was constantly. And I have a king split. I will say, can I say where I bought it?
Sure.
I love Kelly at Adjust Your Sleep Mattress Boutique in Marlton. Because she made sure. So my husband and I have the king split, but he could get something where he likes things a little bit firmer. I wanted a little bit softer. And she watches how you lay on the bed and watches your form. I'm like, what? This completely different experience.
I've done this. I've looked into
And
it. Yeah, all the pressure points that you have, whether you're a side sleeper, a back sleeper, a stomach sleeper, all of these things matter.
100%.
Your pillow, whether
Yeah.
it takes up the space between your shoulder and your neck and stuff like that. So like my pillow is a cube.
Yeah.
For a reason, because it's it's a memory foam, but it's a cube because a circular or a regular shaped pillow, I'd always have to either put my arm up like this to cover the space, or I would position 3 different pillows to kind of lay and fill that up. So like I've looked into all this stuff to improve the quality of sleep, and I've seen a significant difference when I really made those changes. The bed and the pillow, those 2 things made the world of a difference for me. And I was able to perform at my best, and I would not have been able to without it. So I can't. I'm so happy we're doing this episode and correlating it with testosterone and game day, because having this be one of our first episodes, I'm excited about it, because it's one of the most things that men literally ignore. They ignore. It's not that they don't prioritize it. They just flat out ignore it. They fall asleep and they think of it as just all right, I'm gonna pass out now. Oh, I gotta wake up at this time to do work. They don't actually look at sleep as something meaningful. It's just a part of part of their day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah, I think there's two schools of thought. I think there's some people that think I have so much to do. I have to like do this. But so often we're making more mistakes and we're missing things, and we're not
because
showing
our priorities
up.
aren't
Yeah, so
actually in
without
line.
realizing it, or there's people that truly are struggling with sleep and they think, oh, that's just me. Like, I'm just not a good sleeper. I hear that. So I actually used to say that, and I hear that very often, and they think that, well, I just can't. And that makes me like feel bad. Like, I feel bad because I know how it feels like to not sleep for like weeks, months at a time. It's awful. So when people like, oh, it's just me, it doesn't have to be though.
No,
There's things that we can
stop
change.
accepting it, and that's with another thing with testosterone is you're getting older. Okay, don't accept that you have to have low testosterone just because you're older. It's one of the things that we can rebuild. It is you don't. Yes, will your skin get a little less elastic? Will you lose your hair? Yes, these are some. I mean, you can go to Turkey and get a hair plant, but in terms of regrowing your natural hair, yes, that might be something that you actually have to accept. You do not have to accept in today's modern day. Now, with all the improvements and all the technological advancements we've made, especially with testosterone and male hormones, you don't have to accept the fact that your test is low and that you're more tired and there's no drive. So, and the fact that you don't have to accept poor sleep. You don't have to accept just because it's happening to you doesn't mean that or you're able to function. Right, you could be performing, and that's what we do at Game Day. Is it's not that we want to get your levels above what insurance covers or something like that. A lot of guys are under the impression where it's like, oh, if it's above this certain level, like 200 or something like that, where the insurance companies, that's kind of where they draw the bar. A lot of men think as long as I'm not below what insurance will pay for, I'm okay. That's not correct whatsoever. And that's where what we do is we don't just get you to that number or above that. We get you to your optimal. We get your body performing at its most optimal state, and that's our goal. And that's what every man's goal should be: sleep. It is 1/3 of your life.
What is
Please,
optimal sleep? Yeah.
Can I
Yeah.
ask you a question?
Oh yeah.
I know that.
Flip the script.
So I like to learn. So what are some things that if I'm working, I actually have a lot more clients right now that are men than women right now. Yeah, which I was surprised.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
good.
I think it's great. But what are some things if I hear a man describing or if he's feeling, if I can say, oh, he should probably get his testosterone level checked? Like, what are some things
so
that...
I would say a lot of these symptoms I'm going to describe or state are very vague. It's low energy. It's I used to go to the gym a lot, and I just don't feel like it anymore. Or it could be a lack of sex drive. It could be just I think I've got brain fog. I don't think I'm as clear as I used to be or as motivated as I used to be. Very vague symptoms. And, unfortunately, some medical professionals will say, you're getting old. This is normal. And it could be a lot of different things. Some of those symptoms could be from all over the place. But the one thing they all have in common is they're all symptoms of low T. So the medical field right now, if you go to your doctor and get your quarterly or annual blood work, testosterone is not part of that because
You have to specifically ask for it.
there's
I did
no
not know that.
yeah. So
they don't
most
care.
guys do not know their testosterone level because it's not part of the routine panel. Most guys, if they go to their doctor once a year, that's all they're going for unless there's something really wrong. So there's not a lot of follow-ups, and I say this all the time, and I am not a medical professional, but I believe the general practitioners, for the most part, have a set amount of time because of insurance restrictions that they need to find the 10,000 things that might kill you in the next 6 months or year. Testosterone is not going to kill you in the next 6 months to a year. So it's not even on their radar in any way, shape, or form. And if they call you, or if you call them and ask them about, hey, can I get my testosterone checked? You got to go get another blood test. He's going to look at the reference range, not the optimal range, but the reference range of men, and that's 200 to 1,000. And you want to be at a level that makes you feel better. And there are things you can do in your life, diet, exercise, sleeping properly, that can help your body make more testosterone. Some supplements can help, but the quickest and best way to maintain elevated testosterone is through a prescription of testosterone, cypionate, or some of the other forms, and clomiphene for younger guys worried about fertility. And the goal for game day is to get you to a place where you feel those symptoms are significantly reduced. So, but that's part of the game day model, why we do the free consultation, free blood test on initial visits, because we want guys to know. It really is, that initial visit really is about education. And we want guys to know their levels, know what their options are, whether it's personal lifestyle changes or something else. They don't know. Everyone's busy. Everyone's got a lot going on. Nobody can be an expert on beds and an expert on fitness and an expert on diet and all the things that we could do to improve our lives, improve the quality of our lives. So, talking to the people that have the answers is probably the easiest way to, learn about it and take the next steps.
Inform men, exactly.
So one more thing I wanted to make sure we talked about was light sensitivity. So I have read things in the past where they talk about you want to sleep in a room that's completely dark, and all these little LED lights that we have can affect your sleep, because it's not just your eyes. It's, let's call them photosensors in your skin or something, that if you shine a light on a part of your body, your body knows that. I might be asleep, but now I'm being disrupted because there's a light shining on me. And I want to say it was 2 or 3 years ago, I switched to a alarm clock that has a dimmer on the LED, and it's so dim that during the day you can't even tell it's on because it's so light. But at night, when it's dark, I roll over and I can see it fine. It's not that bright. But it always drives me nuts because I look over at the TV and there's that green LED. And I'm just like, I wonder how much that's disrupting my sleep. But I didn't know if you could talk a little bit about darkness and how that light can affect your sleep.
Yes. So I will say that different people find it more bothersome. Some people are fine with it. And I don't know the exact research, of course, like the darkening shades are always, recommended. But I will say that some people are much more highly sensitive to light than others. I will say, since you mentioned the alarm clock, I want to definitely say this is, if your alarm clock is shining in your, you see that could disrupt your sleep, that alone, because it might be a light sensitivity, you roll over and it might be some of them are bright.
Yeah.
But also, if you wake up in the middle of the night and you look and you're like, oh my gosh, it's 4:30 and I'm awake, I should be asleep, and then you try to fall back to sleep and you're like, oh my gosh, it's
stressing.
5 o'clock. And then, anytime you're doing that math in the middle of the night, that's the worst thing you can do. So I actually recommend to turn the alarm clock around. You do not need to know what time it is in the middle of the night. If your alarm clock did not go off, then you try to relax and go back to bed. Whatever time it is, if it's 2 or if it's 5, just try to ignore that. But yeah, with the light, and it's interesting because I personally love Like obviously, like I like it dark at night, but I like in the morning when it starts like kind of the sun coming out. Like I feel
Oh,
like
yeah.
in the summer, like I'm like,
Like
oh,
a
I
seance.
can kind of see it a little bit. I personally feel that that helps me wake up, so I like that. But yeah, with the light sensitivity, it really depends. I was working with a gentleman, and he asked me. He said that he has skylights in his bedroom, which I was like, oh, poor planning on that
Yeah.
builder. But he has 2 large skylights in his bedroom, and on a full moon, it is pretty bright. And he said, "What should I do?"
Wow.
I said, "Well, let me ask you: is it bothering you? Because, you know, if you're not waking up from the moonlight, you know." I don't know. Like, let's kind of wait and see what happens.
I mean-
it can't be great, you know, if it's a full moon. I'm thinking,
Yeah.
No.
but I said let's kind of work together for a little bit longer. I just started working with them and see if that impacts your sleep or not. But yeah, there it is definitely. I wish I had a more direct answer, but yeah, the light sensitivity is different from person to person.
I mean, you could wear a mask. Oh yeah, the
eye mask.
Just wear an eye mask.
Absolutely.
Get a high quality, super soft silk one that doesn't
Yeah.
wrap and strangle your head.
They
or whatever.
even have
But-
ones now that you have an eye mask and they have earbuds built in. So if you want to listen to like, you know, meditative music or something soothing.
Yeah, I mean,
Pretty
I
cool.
also looked into that as well. It's just different frequencies. I mean, I would feel like having something in my ear and laying on a pillow would be uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's supposed to be something where it's
Yeah.
not in your ear. It's
Yeah.
like,
But you could just have
here.
something. You could have it. Even your phone. Keep it away from you, but in the room, a certain hertz kind of hits your brain, and different hertz enact different things in your body, calms you down, wakes you up, focuses you, and stuff like that. So like that was pretty cool, and that's something people can look into. There's so many options. Like I said, men just ignore it. They just don't deal with it, and that's the thing, because there are so many options if you're willing to just take the time to look and prioritize sleep. Prioritize it, because it significantly affects your testosterone levels in many different ways. It may not affect how much you make, but it's going to affect how much you're able to use. And this is again just where we at Game Day, Fran talked about how testosterone is not checked by your primary care physician and stuff like that. Even if you ask them to check it, they don't tell you your most don't even tell you your free testosterone, which is the one that actually is bioavailable in your blood. Like, so we have, as men, we have total tests, how much we make, but what we're able to use is the free, and that is derived, or that's derived from a ratio that you have to check 2 other proteins in the body, albumin and sex hormone binding globulin. If you have elevated levels of those 2 proteins in your body, they bind to our testosterone that we make and leave a very, 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 very small amount for our body to actually use. So that all of these things it's just forgotten about, or it's not mentioned, and it's something here we at Game Day we stress. That's part of our blood. That's part of the free consultation, the blood panel that we do, and you go over with our licensed clinician. Is that we check the levels, we check everything. We check everything, and we go. We are the professionals. We are the experts on this, and I think it's annoying. It's annoying because I know how my father. I just know how neglected sleep is in our lives, and the impact of fixing it could have.
So a couple other factors, focusing on the quality of the sleep, and I've been, I've gone through cycles here with caffeine and alcohol. So both of those, I know if I get back from a dinner, maybe tonight, and I have a glass or 2, I could go home and within an hour, I could just be completely zonked out. And I know it's not the quality sleep, but man, I'm out.
So
I am a
alcohol
lightweight
is
compared
a
to what I used to drink.
Depressant, right? Or is alcohol
But-
suppressant? One of the 2? I
But
forget. what it is.
the flip side of that is the caffeine, and I hear so many people talk about how caffeine. They can't have caffeine after noon or they'll never get to sleep. And I've got to be like a caffeine junkie because I can't tell you how much coffee I drink in a
Yep.
day or
Have
a
right
few
before
diet
bed.
sodas.
Do you?
So-
Yeah.
Really?
I
So-
don't do it. I don't do it regularly, but like I would always. Yeah, I can drink a nice warm beverage. I choose coffee, caffeinated coffee,
Yeah.
and it has no effect on me, or it puts me to sleep. And I think it's because of the stimulant factor of my ADHD and everything. Stimulus centers me.
Right.
Yeah, so the caffeine. Not
But
gonna
in
help.
general, both of those are bad.
Terrible. No,
Right.
100%.
And I will say, so a lot of people, I thought it was very interesting. A lot of people, and I used to be one of them, thought, well, I'll have a glass of wine and, I can relax at the end of the night. I had a long day. I deserve it. And it does, man. It helps you fall asleep, but it does not help you stay asleep because of the blood sugars in it.
Yeah.
So typically, you'll wake up, and it depends upon how much alcohol you've had and what's in your system, but very typically you'll wake up at around 3 o'clock in the morning, and it's because anytime you have and that's the same thing as not eating too heavy of a meal before bed or drinking alcohol before bed. It's really your digestive system, your liver detoxing, the blood sugars working through, and it's all of those things, and they wake you up. So, and I highly suggest for anybody who is kind of curious to how their body, really responds to different things. And if you're like, you know what, that caffeine doesn't impact me, or that alcohol, I'm fine, I could sleep better with it.
How do you know?
I would really say, start like a journal.
Yeah.
What time did you go to bed, and what were what was going on right immediately before that? Did you work out? Did you take a cold shower? Did you what is working or not working for you? Everybody's a little bit different, and so so many times I will talk to somebody and they want to ask me a question right away, and I'm like, I have more questions for you before I can answer anything, because everybody's a little bit different.
Of course.
But it's great information to get for yourself. So, and I know people that are like, oh my gosh, if I have 2 glasses of wine, forget it. My sleep is wreaking havoc.
And eating before bed. So I obviously eating. So let's say you have carb heavy lunch, right? Everyone's had it before, where you eat at 12, and by 2 p.m. you are passing out, stay on your feet, because your blood sugar spikes from the carbohydrates, and then it absolutely plummets and puts you into an almost hypoglycemic coma. Which I enjoy those at night. I'll eat a big meal right before. Just when I was really heavy into bodybuilding and I needed to get all my calories in. I enjoyed having a huge meal right at the end of the night, and that would actually, it would give me the energy. But then, I would just ride that blood sugar wave to sleep. It would knock me out.
Now, did you wake up in the middle of the night?
No, but the thing is, that's where I looked into it, is that eating within 2 to 3 hours will negatively affect your sleep. You shouldn't drink anything.
The heaviness of the meal.
Sure, yeah, for sure. If you have some egg whites, it'll be fine. But if you're having a couple donuts and you're having lasagna, it's gonna affect you. But it's not like you said, but you said it perfectly. Not everybody is the same. Not everybody can be fit into a box. But one or two things. What if you could say will work? Not as will work, but what could everyone do? What are a couple things, right? What are a couple things that every single person should or could do to at least improve their sleep, or to, I guess, improve their sleep? Not just stay asleep, but whether it be waking up, whether it be going to bed. I think one of them might be journaling. I think there's no negative side effect of it. It may not work as well for other people, but it won't negatively affect you. So journaling and writing those things down. But what would be something else?
I think one, if I could partake any wisdom, or if my wish, if somebody listened to this, is one that you start caring about your sleep and prioritizing it, and making it a point to schedule your day or your night where you're going to say, okay, I'm going to prepare my body for sleep. So I would say that's huge. I feel like that's very important. and whatever that is for you. And I think too, like getting ready for bed should be seen as something that like we enjoy. Like there's so much of us when we go, and like being able to like really unwind and enjoy that time. So it's so important, whether it's, you know, the journaling or reading or, you know, like cuddling up on the couch with your kids, like whatever that looks like, you know, but really having that unwind time is so important. I'm going to go back to setting your alarm the same time every single day is crucial. But I'm first a behavior analyst, right? And I always say I'm a big believer in if you try to do too much at one time, it's not going to work. You know, it's like,
if you're trying to do too much, you'll get nothing done.
Too many habits.
Just
yeah,
do.
exactly.
You'd rather
Like,
get 3 things done than fail at all 10.
right.
Just
So
yeah.
I would say look at what you're doing. What is one thing you can improve on? You know, maybe you're like, you know, listening to them talk today, and I realize I do like, gosh, I'm going until 10:30 at night, and you know, I'm not giving myself that time, or oh, my wake up times are all over the place, they're erratic, or you know, the other one thing that we didn't talk about is if you're laying in bed and you start worrying or the ruminating, or you're like, oh my gosh, this meeting did not go well. If you find yourself ruminating and worrying and having that anxiety in bed, get out of bed. Get out of bed.
I was just going to say,
like you
go
don't
take a cold shower.
Yeah.
And
well, I don't know if
so a cold shower seems scary.
that would
But
wake
getting
me.
out of
I would
bed-
be like,
So
that would
you-
startle me
here.
awake.
So if your body is, it would shock you.
Oh, yeah.
It would not make you more energized though. Your body is fatigued, and that's one of the things. So your body's tired.
Mm-hmm.
It is tired. Now your brain, right, is all over the place. It can't. Your brain is probably tired. However, it can't calm down, and that's kind of the thing, right? If you're laying in bed, and this is, I know it seems counterproductive, and I'd love to share this. Like, take a cold shower. It's scary. Hey,
Are you suggesting even like, okay, I'm just.
yes. In the
Okay,
middle at
so
2 a.m. You can't sleep. You're probably not cold enough. It's probably not cold enough in your room. You're probably hot. You're probably tossing and turning. Go take a cold shower. 30 seconds. 30 seconds to a minute. Dry off. You're going to be cold. And then what do you get to do? You're cold. I'm going to go
Get back in bed and-
cuddle. Yeah. So not only do you get more nestled into your bed, right? Your covers
Okay.
are now actually warming you up rather than keeping you too hot, right? You get into this comforting state. So like when you say like, oh, I'd be up, it shocks your mind. It doesn't give you energy, right? Your body is fatigued from being up for however many hours you just were. Your brain is fatigued from thinking all day. The cognitive process, cognitive load that you have all day, you have used it. It wants to shut off. It just can't. So what a cold shower does, and it works in both ways. So when you wake up in the morning, a cold shower will wake you up. But what it does is it won't put you to sleep, but it centers you. So, and that's where you want to be. You never want to be in a heightened state all day. You never want to be in a lowered state all day. You want to be baseline. That's where we as humans perform where we can sustain the most efficiency. If you're on stimulants all day long, you will inevitably crash. There is no avoiding it, right? And if you're down, you're not going to be productive at all, right? So being baseline is where we want to be. So going to sleep, yes, I would 100% recommend getting out of bed, go taking a cold shower, or putting ice on your neck, something to, because is your hypothalamus back the temperature regulator in your brain? Yeah. If you lower that, if you trick it into thinking that it's colder, it will calm. It'll shock you, right, to begin with, but then it will center you, and you'll come down to the center part where your body has been struggling to get down to. So you may be a little bit above that baseline, right? The cold water is going to put you up here, but then it will guarantee to bring you here, and it'll put you right out.
Couldn't help but think if I had something like ruminating where I was going over and over and over again in my brain, I guarantee if I froze my butt off, I would be
you're going to forget about it.
not
Forgetting about
thinking
it?
about whatever it was.
Yes.
I would be
And-
like,
Be shivering too much.
I would be. I probably wouldn't like you either at that moment.
No.
Like,
But
But it
you'll
might
wake
work.
in
I'm
the
gonna-
morning. You'll
I'm
be like,
gonna-
I went to sleep.
I've been doing very, very well. But if this happens, I'm going to do a behavioral experiment, and I'm
Love
going
it.
to let you know how that
You're gonna
works
tell
for
your
me.
husband to get in the cold shower when
No.
he can't sleep.
Please do if you
I'm
if you
gonna
love
talk
him.
to
If you
him.
love
I'm
him,
gonna-
if you love him,
I love him.
if you want the best for him, do it. He'll curse you out, but then right in the middle of it, he's gonna pass out.
I'm gonna,
And that's
get back to you about
Yeah.
that, Manny.
I'm very confident that it will have a positive effect. Yeah. And the thing is, I've done cold therapy and looked into it, and I've practiced it for quite a while, and there's almost no negatives to it. Absolutely no negatives to it. And the way it affects our brains is just and our bodies. But
I have
that's
to say, I've
So-
learned a lot today.
I would say I liked the discussion we had earlier where, I talked a little bit and you, I think, affirmed the writing it down. You mentioned it. We both kind of talked about it, but writing it down if you have racing thoughts, whether it's ruminating or just thinking about tomorrow and your priorities and your busy life, just write it down. Write it down, get it out of your it significantly helps me calm down. And then when I think to do that, to write it down, then I naturally move on to let's take a few breaths. Let's practice a little gratitude or say a little prayer or something calming.
breath work is
And
undeniable.
just gets me to that next, calming state. So I think that's helped me a lot. I don't sleep perfect, but I think a lot of this conversation is going to make me think twice about maybe my caffeine and how late in the day I might be drinking some of it, and a few other things. So,
Yeah, just because you can doesn't mean you should.
yeah.
Just because I can drink coffee right before bed doesn't mean I should. That's how I mean.
So, anyway, I think that's
Yeah,
kind
and
of about.
would you like to say any closing statements? I mean, this was great.
Michelle?
This is
No, I
this is
want
a
to thank
privilege.
you because I learned also.
Good,
So
yeah,
thank
that's-
you both very
yeah,
much.
good.
Yeah.
Well, hey, so I guess we can set it to close out. This was incredibly insightful. It really was. So thank you for sharing your
And I
knowledge.
think
and thank you for
maybe
coming.
we'll have to bring Kelly on in one of the future
Oh,
episodes
yeah.
for
Oh,
the
yeah.
talk about beds more.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
That'd be cool.
make sure guys can get the right bed.
Yes, because
So-
people are like, oh well, people are like coil, spring, Tempur-Pedic. No,
Foam.
you have to
Natural.
know. Yeah, but you have to know if you're a side sleeper, a
Yeah.
back sleeper, a stomach sleeper. You have to know, and if you're a stomach sleeper, you need the firmest bed you could possibly have. If you're
So-
a back sleeper, you
All right,
need to.
Manny, save it for the next episode.
I can go forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, all right,
gonna love
guys.
Kelly.
Yeah. All right. So, hey, if you've been struggling with low energy, poor recovery, or low T, don't guess. Get checked and visit Game Day Men's Health Clinic in Swedesboro, New Jersey, where they specialize in personalized hormone optimization and men's wellness solutions that help you get your edge back. Again, a big thank you to the Frosted Nug for allowing us
Frosted
to use
Nug.
this absolute incredible facility. You can find today's episode and all future episodes on the Playbook, the Ultimate Guide to Men's Health on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. I'm your host, Manny Canberra, along with Fran Grenier, Michelle Cruiser.
Yes. Thanks so much.
Thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Thank
All right.
you.
Till next time.